If you've come to this video looking for a step-by-step exhaustive video showing you exactly how to do electroplating at home, you've come to the wrong place. Greetings, fellow DIYer, and welcome to my video. There are tons of videos already on YouTube showing at-home electroplating. And I'm not going to copy those videos just to get likes and clicks and whatever the reason is that people copy videos. So if that's the case, why are we even here? This looks like electroplating solution. Why is this video in existence? Well, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I'm the DIY guy. I do a lot of DIY stuff with machining. I do DIY stuff with automotive. I do DIY stuff with treadmill parts. And the other thing about my channel is I read the comments and I try to answer all of them. Now, I may have missed a comment here or there in the last 2 years, but I'd be willing to bet I have at least a 95% reply rate on YouTube. One such commenter was looking for a power supply to do electroplating. And he asked me, he's like, do you think a treadmill motor power supply will work for electroplating? The answer is, I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to try it. Now, normally when I do at-home electroplating, I use this guy right here. I got it off of Amazon. I think I paid about $70 for it. This allows me to adjust voltage. This allows me to adjust amperage. And I can look at the plating process and adjust how high the settings are on it. Now, with these power supplies, we've got an MC2100 and we've got an MC60. There's no amperage adjustment. Now, I do know that these units do have some built-in amperage adjustment based on draw. So that may be okay, it may not. It may try and run tons of amps. It just depends on the resistance of our plating fluid. But what I can adjust with these is voltage. Now, most of these are going to go up as high as about 90 volts DC, and most of these are going to go up somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 amps. And that seems massive for electroplating. A lot of the videos you see out there, they're just using a wall plug-in, just a tiny little DC power source. Sometimes they're using a battery charger, any number of small DC power supplies. The thing with electroplating is the bigger the item you're electroplating, the higher the amperage you need to plate said item. And that's where these power supplies come in. If you're doing something that's a little more on the large side, they may have a little better power output for doing that plating. Also, I know that there are some metals that require higher voltages. So again, these may work for that application. I honestly don't know. This video may be an epic fail, and if it is, it is. We're gonna succeed together or fail together. I've got a couple of pieces that we're going to mess with as far as plating goes. This solution is nickel acetate. It's just made with simple household vinegar and a nickel anode. And then I've got a couple of test pieces that have been thoroughly cleaned so that we can see how well this works. One nice thing with electroplating is when it is working, bubbles appear on the item being plated. So we should be able to use those bubbles as a guide and see just how well it is working. So let's get a dish, let's get set up, and let's see how this works. So this is my basic setup. I've got the MC60 wired to 110 household. This is the potentiometer that you use to vary the voltage on an MC60. I've got the positive that would normally go to the positive on the motor going to my nickel anode. And then I've got this little piece of copper over here as my test piece and the negative going to that. When you're electroplating, the positive flows from the metal that you're using as the sacrificial metal, and it flows to the thing that you're wanting to plate. So what you're plating is always on the negative. I've got everything turned down, nothing's plugged in, and I have safety glasses. I have no idea what this is going to do. Nickel can be toxic. I really don't want to get a face full of it. I don't think that I will, but still, safety first. Let's give this a try. Now this is one situation where soft start is my friend. I don't want any voltage going to it until I can be watching it really closely and determining what's going on. So because this has soft start, it's not going to come on when you first power it up, which is fantastic. All right, let's turn the potentiometer and see what happens. Now I'm also going to be watching these LEDs on here because they are an indicator of what's going on voltage-wise. And that one came on to light, that one came on to light. Not seeing a whole lot going on. Oh, yep, if you look really close, we are starting to get some bubbles on this copper piece. And you can see it's already starting to change color. Now you may be wondering why I have the nickel anode so far away from this copper piece that I'm plating. And the reason for that is because of the amperage output on this and the voltage output on this, the further the distance, the more resistance this solution is going to have. And so it's actually a safety feature having it a little bit further away. Let's turn that up. Now we're getting a lot more bubbles. Now the quality of your plating does depend on your voltage, and the low and slow concept seems to hold true with electroplating, but you also want to have enough power going to it to thoroughly do the job. So it takes a little practice and it takes a little experimentation. If you're going to be doing stuff with electroplating, I recommend getting going on some test pieces first before diving into what it is that you actually want to electroplate. All right, we are up about a quarter turn. We're going to go a little higher. And now we're getting a lot of bubbles. Let's gently pull that out, and oh yeah, we are definitely changing color. That has a nice silver sheen to it, so it is definitely working. All right, I am now at full voltage. A little nervous to do that, but I did it so that we could test it and see how this power supply was going to react, and it seems to be working pretty well. I'm also checking the temperature of these wires to see if they're getting hot. Part of the reason I used such small wires is I didn't want to dump tons of amps into the system, not knowing how it was going to react. And the small wires, I knew that they would heat up if too much amperage was flowing through them. So we are going to go ahead and turn that back down. Look at that. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You can clearly see the nice nickel coating on this piece of copper. I would say that using an MC60 as a power source for electroplating is totally an option and totally doable. And now let's do the exact same test with the MC2100. Now, one nice thing about this is because this uses a pulse width modulator signal generator, I can very slowly increase the voltage on this, and I can turn it off and turn it on. And I think that that is actually going to be more user-friendly for this process. So let's turn it off. My test subject this time is a piece of steel. We're just going to set it in part way. And we're going to turn this on. Now again, I'm going to be watching that LED right there because it will flash as it is doing its job as far as producing power. We turn it on and you can see it's flashing. And immediately, kind of hard probably to see on camera, but we are starting to get some bubbles. Now another nice feature with this particular pulse width modulator signal generator is you can set a max and a min. I set the max on this, I believe, right around 40% because I definitely didn't want to damage my MC2100, and they are definitely a fragile power supply. The MC60 is a little more robust and I wasn't too worried about messing it up, but definitely concerned about damaging this one. We're going to turn it up. And as you can see, we're getting a lot of bubbles. And that's only at 11% duty cycle. All right, now we are getting tons of bubbles going on. So that's the 40 max that I set this at. Again, MC2100s are known to fail, and I didn't want to do anything to damage this. But this is showing proof of concept. If you have a treadmill that you're scrapping out and you're not using the parts the way I've been using the parts to modify a mill or modify a lathe, you can use this DC power supply for all kinds of things, including electroplating. Let's go ahead and turn that off and take a peek. And as you can see, there is two very distinct colors there. The original steel and then now the nice nickel finish. And that experiment was a success. I got a beautiful plate on this piece of copper. Of course, with electroplating, what you start with has as much to do with the final outcome as anything. And I had spent a little time putting a little bit of a polish on this copper just to get a nice nickel sheen. The coating was all the way around, and the results I'm very happy with, especially for the fact that that was such a short period of time. I think if I was actually doing a part, I would be playing with the settings and dialing in to get the best possible finish. But I think I'm well on my way with what I did using the MC60. And this worked equally as well. As you can see, there are two very distinct colors. This is a whole lot brighter with the nickel finish that's on it. And I didn't turn this one up as high as I turned up the other one. Had I gone higher, and you may be able to go higher, I could have gotten probably a lot faster coating on this piece for this video. Again, this is not a video on electroplating. I'm not telling you to use the treadmill motor power supply and crank it all the way up. Your results are going to vary based on what it is you are electroplating. And you're going to need to play with it a little bit depending on how big it is and what materials you are plating with. I've done electroplating with zinc acetate and copper sulfate and had great results with both of those. Copper sulfate does copper, zinc acetate does zinc. This, of course, was nickel acetate. If I was doing this and I wanted to completely do this part, I think I would use multiple anodes in my bath, and I would use multiple wires to help increase that amperage just a little bit and allow for a little better flow of electrons. But again, this was just a bench test. This was just a proof of concept, and the result is, it works. If you like what you've seen, please click like. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Your results are going to vary based on what it is you're powder coating. Powder coating? Wow.